Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. In this video, I will define the terms, an approach, a method, and a technique. People tend to confuse these terms. Of course, for layman, the ordinary man in the street, these are not that important, but for us, as the jargon of our profession, it is important to understand how they differ from each other. In his work, Approach, Method and Technique, Edward M. Anthony, who is an American Applied Linguist, tried to define these terms in detail. And I will be referring to his definitions because they are commonly accepted by the scholars in our field. If you're interested in his work, you can find the references of this work in the description. These definitions by Anthony are still in use, and no one has come up with a better definition. So we will stick to these. It is vital to understand the difference between philosophy of language, language teaching, at the level of theory and principles, and a set of derived procedures for teaching a language. So when you have the philosophy is going to give birth to some principles to be applied in actual situations. Anthony identified 3 levels of conceptualization and organization, which he termed approach, method, and technique, and the arrangement is hierarchical. An approach is a set of correlative assumptions dealing with the nature of language teaching and learning. An approach is axiomatic, in other words, self-evident, unquestionable, or undeniable. It describes the nature of the subject matter to be taught. So, an approach is the philosophy or the theory. As you can see in the figure, underlying any language teaching approach, there is a theoretical view of what language is, and in other words, a linguistic theory, and of how it can be learned. So, educational theory. We have a combination of a linguistic theory and an educational theory working hand in hand. An approach gives rise to methods, several different methods, which can be defined as the way of teaching something. So when you have the philosophy, when you have the theory, the way of teaching will reflect this understanding. So when we have a look at the term method, we can easily say that it is an overall plan for the orderly presentation of language material, no part of which contradicts and all of which is based upon the selected approach. So when you have an approach, it can give birth to several different methods. Don't forget that method is procedural. It deals with when, how, and what to teach. You can also see this in the figure. So we have already said that a method is an overall plan for the orderly presentation of language material. It covers the particular skills to be taught, the roles of the teacher and the learner in language teaching and learning, the appropriate procedures and techniques, the content to be taught, and the order in which the content will be presented. A method So we can easily say that a method is the way of teaching something. It uses classroom activities or techniques to help learners learn. So let's have a look at the technique, the term technique. A technique is implementational, and it actually takes place in a classroom. It is a particular exercise, activity, or task type to be used in order to accomplish immediate learning objectives. Techniques are the actual moment-to-moment classroom steps to lead to a specified outcome. It's a particular exercise or activity or task. Don't forget that. So that's what we refer to when we say a technique. Techniques must be consistent with a method and therefore in harmony with the approach. So let's give an example. The audiolingual approach is based on a structuralist view of language and the psychology of behaviorism as the basis of its learning theory, employing stimulus and response and reinforcement. Audiolingual method exposes learners to increasingly complex language grammatical structures by getting them to listen to language and respond. It often involves memorizing dialogues, and there is no explicit grammar teaching. The techniques that this method uses include listening and repeating, oral drilling to achieve a high level of accuracy of language forms and patterns. On the other hand, the communicative approach is based on the functional grammar view of language, so the theory is the functional grammar, and the social pragmatic theory as the basis of its psychological theory. The communicative method aims to develop learners' communicative competence across all 4 skills. Language is generally contextualized, and authentic and semi-authentic materials are used. The main purpose of language is communication, and that meaning is paramount. Communicative method is holistic. The techniques that this method uses cover information gap activities, opinion gap activities, or tasks, you can also say tasks, problem solving or reasoning gap activities. In modern language classrooms, teachers often prefer implementing various techniques from a variety of methods and approaches. So do most coursebook authors. Selecting techniques from various approaches and methods seems like the best way to address the different needs of the learners rather than sticking to one method and its techniques. The basic principles that are commonly accepted in our modern classrooms are: 1, the whole is more important than the sum of its parts. 2, language learning is a social process. 3, language learning is process-oriented. 4, language learning involves relating new information to prior knowledge. And 5, language skills are acquired concurrently and interrelatedly. 6, procedural knowledge, that is to say, doing, is more important than declarative knowledge, knowing. And the last principle here, students' errors are signals of progress in language learning. If you want to learn what approach, method, and techniques are employed in our national curriculum, please watch the related videos on our channel. I would strongly suggest Curriculum and Syllabus, Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, How to Analyze a Coursebook Unit, and How to Design Activities. Those will give you a wonderful and short information on the national curriculum that the ministry employs. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Wishing you all the best. Bye-bye.